I'm Brooke and I'm a small group leader at 242.
I'm Blythe.
I'm Izzy. And I'm Otto.
And today we are going on a scavenger hunt. We're at Target right now looking for some super fun things that were really hard to find over quarantine. So what are like some things that were difficult for you guys to get?
I couldn't find any toilet paper. We went to like Costco and Target and everywhere, and we could not find any toilet paper, so we had to use paper towels as toilet paper.
Ouch. Izzy?
Probably toilet paper or something.
Yeah.
We couldn't find hamburgers or like anything like
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, you're right. I remember flour was hard to find. Like I wanted to bake a lot over quarantine because I was bored, and flour was hard to find. And then like the bleach wipes, my mom always wanted bleach, so those are some things. So we're gonna go to Target. We're gonna see how fast we can find those things. Life, what did we find? We found some toilet paper. Look what we found.
Flour.
Izzy, grab the flour.
Okay. We found
Yes, we did. School supplies, and what do we find, guys?
I don't know, sticker fan.
Some cleaner. I bet you this wasn't here when COVID was happening.
Why is it in the middle of the sticker?
Autumn, what'd you find? What did you get?
Hamburgers.
Oh yeah. Alright guys, we found the most essential product during all of COVID. My #1 dietary. There we go.
There we go. Got it.
Yeah, everyone's got their favorite. Autumn, what's your favorite ice cream? What'd you live on for COVID?
It's chocolate chip.
Yeah, me too. Alright guys, just walked out of Target. We got all the good snacks. So we can go hang out and have some small group time together. We found all of the things that were impossible to find over COVID, and most importantly, finished off with some snacks. So hopefully you guys are having a good weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Welcome to 242 Students Online. I'm Chewy, this is Mini Chewy, and this is our big bro, Chewbacca. You've probably seen him in those Star Wars movies. He's a pretty big deal, but he kind of just left us here. So we're starting a band. I used to be in my own solo band called Chew Chains, and now we're starting a band, Mini Chewy and I, called 22 Pilots. So our next single is coming out soon, so stay tuned. But if you're new here, don't worry about that. Go ahead and click on the next steps card in the description of this video or in the chat and just introduce yourself to us. If you're not new, go ahead and subscribe to this channel and like this video. We're continuing a series called Voices, and we're getting different perspectives from people we don't normally hear. So stay tuned, grab a snack, get ready, sit down on the couch, it's gonna be awesome. And we were gonna play the worship song this week, but we didn't wanna flex too hard on our worship team. So they're gonna play the song, but we'll give you a little taste of what we've been working on. Here we go.
Well, hey, how we doing, 242 students? Today we're continuing our series called Voices, and before I get started, I just want to tell you a story. A few years back, I met a kid named Ian. And when Ian first walked into our ministry, no joke, he walked in and he was like this. He just was like not happy, not wanting to be there. The only reason he was there was because his parents made him be there. Maybe you relate to that right now. Like maybe the only reason you're watching is because your parents are making you. Well, this was this kid Ian. He did not want to be at students at all, and he did not like it. And so fast forward a little bit later, and a ministry that I was in, we did this trip called the Detroit Mission Trip. And it was just a chance for us to go and serve Detroit and to help people who needed it. And so Ian signed up for the trip. Again, I'm not really sure why. Maybe just to get rid of his brother or sister or his sisters for the weekend. That might have been why. But he ended up going, and honestly, like, there was such a change from him from the moment that he came into the day that he left. So much so that by the end of the week, he actually put his faith in Jesus. And from then on, Ian was a different kid. No joke. He was like nice and kind and respectful and like helpful, and all of a sudden he no longer was the kid sitting in the back like this. He was the kid who was helping us put on our student service, and he was the kid who was welcoming new people, and he was the kid who was like having this servant heart, and he really wanted to serve others and love others through serving. And as he got a little bit older, he was in middle school when I met him, and as he got a little bit older, he started leading a small group and being a part of like our worship team, because he could rap, and so he would rap like, you know, like This Is Living, the rap part, like he would do that and things like that. He got so involved, and for him, his story really began by serving, by helping others, by putting others first. And in that, he not only found a relationship with Jesus, but also found a passion for the church and a passion to help others know Jesus as well. And so, like, for us today, we're going to talk a little bit about serving, and about, I think serving is more than just us maybe helping out in the kids area, or I'm not sure exactly where you serve. Maybe you go to a local shelter and you help once a month. I think serving goes beyond that. It's more of a heart issue of saying, man, how do we love others? And you know, the Bible talks about this and is actually really stern about the way that we love others. And so today I want to read some verses to you found in Matthew 25. And these verses, I'm going to be honest, are sometimes still hard for me to read and for me to process and for me to like actually do, because they're pretty hard verses that Jesus is telling here. He's talking about the kingdom of heaven. He's talking about how there's going to come a time where he's going to have to separate people in the kingdom of heaven, right? For the people that are going to heaven and the people that are going to hell. And he's in this moment talking about the differences between these two people. And he's saying that one of these people he's going to look at and he's going to say, wow, well done, my good and faithful servants. Because when you saw me, you saw that I was hungry, you fed me. When you saw that I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. When you saw that I was sick, you helped me get better. When you saw that I was in prison, you wrote to me and you were with me. And like all these things where he's like, hey, when you saw me in this need, you came and you met it. And these people are like, wait, Jesus, we never saw you like hungry. Like some of them were probably like, Jesus, we never even met you. Like, what are you talking about? And that's when Jesus says, as if you do these for the least of these, brothers and sisters of mine, you do it unto me. Saying, hey, like if you love others, if you serve others, if you actually go and help others, that's helping me. When you do something for that person that's in need, that's serving me. But then he says to these other people, and I'm going to be honest, I feel like sometimes I'm in this second group of people as more than the first group. They say these other people saying, hey, when you saw that I was hungry, you didn't feed me. When you saw that I was thirsty, you didn't give me something to drink. When you saw that I was in need, when I was sick, when I needed some clothing, you didn't give that to me. And he says, away from you, you evildoers. Man, like I said, that is sometimes a hard verse to get, because I'm like, oh, is Jesus going to say that to me one day? But maybe for you, you're like, okay, but Megan, can I be honest here? I've never really seen anybody like hungry. I mean, maybe if I go and actually serve in Detroit and places like that, I would. But, you know, in Brighton and Howell, I don't really see people hungry or thirsty. You know, like there's water, they can get water, whatever. But if I could put this in like a little bit, I think, modern terms for you, it probably would be this. Is when you saw that I was lonely, did you come and try to sit with me and to tell me that you were there? When you saw I was being bullied, did you stand up for me? When you saw that I was the only kid in class at that one table at lunchtime, would you come over and sit with me? If I know anything about what's the needs of the people that you know right now, the people in your schools or the people that are in your neighborhoods, they're probably not struggling with hunger or thirstiness or maybe even sickness, like this talks about that. Maybe they are, but I would say that for most of them, they're probably struggling with loneliness. being bullied and picked on and things like that. Those are probably the things that you can do something about. And so what can you do? What can you do to serve, to love others? How can you go and help that kid that you know is struggling? How can you go and actually be the church? That's what we say all the time. We say, go be the church. Meaning, be Jesus with skin on, right? Love some people. And how can you do that for other people? And so today I want to give you a challenge. The challenge is simple. It's go serve someone else. I want you to think of one person that this week you can decide to actually go and serve. And I'm not sure who that is for you. Maybe it's that student that you know, like I said, is struggling with loneliness. And you can just text them and say, hey, I know that you probably feel alone. I'm here. What can I do to help you right now? And that simple text might go a long way. Or maybe for you, you do know somebody who's sick. Like maybe you know somebody who has been sick, and maybe you could just bring them some soup or something. You know, like simple gestures go a long way. And so what can you do to serve someone else? And I want you to find one thing, and I want you to share it with your small group leader. And then this week, I want you to go out and do this and actually serve others, love others like Jesus wants us to love others. And so let's pray. God, I just thank you so much for each student who's watching. God, I pray that today that they would get a heart to love others the way that you have loved us. And so, God, I pray that they would see the needy. God, the needs might look different. Today, we might not know people who are in prison or who are hungry. But, God, we know people who are spiritually desperate, who are spiritually hungry, that don't know you, and that maybe are struggling with loneliness. They're struggling with bullying. They're struggling with these things that we can do something, that we can say, hey, you're not alone. And so, God, I pray you could help us take those next steps. We love you so much. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
One name holds a weight above them all. His fame outlasts the earth he formed. His praise
it's Chewy and Mini Chewy here again. Thanks for joining us at 242 Students Online. But why stop here? Go ahead and fill out a Next Steps card and join an online small group. Or maybe your next step is saying yes to a relationship with Jesus by taking the next step of baptism. Whatever your next step is, we would love to help you take that next step. Just go ahead and fill out the Next Steps card in the description below or in the chat. And also be sure to invite a friend with you next week. As always, we love you and we can't wait to see you next week.